What up? Hi. How's it going? Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Let me see who's in here. I bet I know who it is. I see Fem. I see Tipsy. Hi, ladies. Can you guys hear me and see me? Let me know. Let me know. Yay. Thanks, Tipsy. What's up? Happy Saturday evening. Hi, Sam. I see you, Sam. What's up? Happy Saturday. I hope you guys had a good day or are having a good day. We are going to be reviewing document today, the Menendez brothers resentencing document. We like to do that here on my channel. I love going through these documents. So I just got a hold of them. I didn't read through it. It's pretty long. It's nothing we haven't done here before, so it shouldn't take us that long. This was filed October 24th, so 2 days ago. Was that the day of the hearing? I'm not sure. I don't remember. But if you don't know, we are covering the first Menendez brothers trial here on my channel. So we've already started it. We have completed the first press conference, opening statements, Lyle Menendez opening statements, and then this evening we'll be covering Eric Menendez opening statements. So if you're liking this case and you have been following it and you're interested in the first trial, we are covering it here. I've really been into this case for years now, since I could remember. Hey, Jojo, thanks for being here. Good to see you. I hope you're having a good day. We're going to be covering, like I said, this was filed on 10/24, the resentencing document. I will be skipping, let me put it up on the screen. I'm going to be skipping like the penal codes and all of that. I don't feel like a lot of it, I don't think we need to read all those codes and numbers. So we're just so if you see me skipping through stuff, that's what it is. But it is a pretty big document. So let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. Let me make sure we're going to be on the same page. Is that document good? You guys can see that. Hi, Avie. Good to see you, love. Thanks for being here. Beautiful. Augie, you made it. I'm so happy you're here. Hi. Hi. I hope you guys had a good day. I was just letting everyone know we're reviewing the resentencing motion that was filed on the 24th, so 2 days ago, for the Menendez brothers. Allegedly, they're to be out before Thanksgiving. So if that's true, I'm very excited about that. And like I said, we are covering that first case here if you're into it. Let's get started. So, request for recall and sentencing. The people respectfully request this court recalls defendant sentence and resentence them pursuant to Penal Code 1172. Defendants have demonstrated exceptional post-conviction conduct, a critical factor in assessing their suitability for release. Defendants have demonstrated they no longer present a public safety risk such that their current sentence is no longer in furtherance of justice. The people therefore request the court vacate, recall, and resentence defendants. A procedural summary of the case. On March 12, 1990, a felony complaint was filed in Beverly Hills Municipal Court charging Eric and Lyle Menendez, the defendants, with the August 20th, 1989 unaliving of their parents, Jose and Mary Kitty, which her nickname was Kitty Menendez. It was also alleged that in the commission of the unaliving, the defendants each personally used a weapon with the meaning of Penal Code, etc. 3 special circumstances were also alleged against them: that the unalivings were committed by the defendants for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code, etc., and that the murders were committed by the defendants while lying in wait within the meaning of Penal Code 190, and that the defendants committed multiple unalivings. The defendant's preliminary hearing was delayed due to litigation regarding the admissibility of tape recordings involving the defendants discussing the killing of their parents with their psychotherapist. The district's attorney's office then proceeded to the grand jury of Los Angeles and sought indictments against the defendants for for the unaliving of their parents. See Exhibit 2. On December 2nd, 1992, the grand jury issued an indictment charging the defendants with the unaliving of each of their parents and alleging the lying in wait and multiple multiple unaliving special circumstances. I have to be careful now. I'm being babysat. Really, truly. Let me turn the page for you guys. Sorry, I lost my place. The defendants were also originally indicted for the conspiracy to unalive both Jose and Kitty Menendez in separate counts. But the government returned to the grand jury on April 14th, 1993, and sought an amended indictment wherein the defendants were charged in one count only with the conspiracy to unalive both of their parents. On January 12, 1993, the government announced they were seeking the DP against both defendants. The defendants were tried jointly commencing in June of 1993 before separate juries. Neither was able to reach a verdict, and the trial court declared a mistrial as to each defendant. The defendants were retried starting in October of 1995 before a single jury. On March 20th, 1996, the jury found the defendants guilty as charged. The penalty phase resulted in verdicts of life without parole rather than death for the defendants in April of 1996. On July 2nd of 1996, the trial court imposed consecutive terms of life without parole on the two unaliving convictions and stayed the conspiracy to unalive sentence pursuant to Penal Code 654. Hey Donna, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Brief statement of facts. On August 20th, 1989, at approximately 10:30 p.m., defendants Eric and Lyle Menendez unalived their parents, Kitty and Jose, as they sat on the family's couch watching television and eating. They were unalived with a, a firearm. Both defendants repeatedly fired Mossberg shotguns at their parents, striking them multiple times with pellets all over their bodies. One of the Menendez brothers heard a series of popping sounds at about 10:30 p.m. and then a period of silence and then another series of popping sounds. The neighbor's son was going to call 911 but was dissuaded from doing so by his father because he thought the popping sounds were simply firecrackers. At the time of the unaliving, Lyle Menendez was 21 years old and a student at Princeton University, while Eric Menendez was 18 years old and preparing to attend UCLA in the fall. On the afternoon of August 20th, Lyle Menendez had called a friend and discussed getting together that evening at a food festival in Santa Monica. Lyle Menendez told the friend that he and Eric Menendez were going to see a movie in Century City, but after the movie finished around 9:30 p.m., they would go meet up with a friend in Santa Monica. When the defendants did not show up in Santa Monica, the friend left. Lyle Menendez called the friend twice at approximately 11 p.m. In the first call, Lyle Menendez said he got lost on the way to Santa Monica and that by the time he finally found the location, the food festival was closed. Lyle Menendez suggested the friend meet him and Eric Menendez at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. The friend was reluctant, but Eric Menendez was very insistent and sounded quote-unquote anxious and excited. The friend ultimately agreed. Lyle Menendez called the friend again just a few minutes later and asked him to meet the defendants at the Menendez home instead of the restaurant. The friend told Lyle Menendez he would wait at the restaurant for the defendants instead, but the defendants never appeared. The friend was angered by this behavior and went to the Menendez home to yell at the defendants, but saw a large number of police cars outside and was told by police that there was some trouble, so the friend went home. Jojo says, I'm 50-50 on if they should get out, but they still did what they did. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings. Augie says, I really don't know what to think about this case. Okay, so you guys feel, okay. So most of you are saying you have mixed feelings. I like to hear what you guys think. Donna, even the lawyer that defended them keeps, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, let's continue. At 11:47 p.m. on the night of the unalivings, Lyle Menendez called 911 and said, "Someone unalived my parents." Lyle Menendez said he had not heard anything unusual. He had just come home and discovered that his parents had been blank to death. Police officers responded to Lyle Menendez's 911 call. When they reached the front of the Menendez residence, Eric and Lyle Menendez ran out of the front door of the house. The young men were screaming. The investigating detective did not recover any ammunition inside of the residence, nor were any weapons located. The defendant spoke to the police the night of the crime, as well as again in September 1989. In both interviews, the defendant said they were elsewhere at the time of the crime. At that time of the first interview, Lyle Menendez indicated the possibility that the unalivings were business related. Within a few days of the crime, Lyle Menendez hired a security services company to provide constant protection for him while he was on the East Coast. Lyle Menendez told the security company that his parents' unaliving were committed by an organized crime group, a story he repeated to other people over the next few months. Oh, that's wild. I'm not like a pro on this case, so a lot of this, I hadn't read this document either, so bear with me. Thanks for being here, you guys. It's a difficult situation. Yes, they were, but they took the law into their hands. Yeah, exactly. Let's continue. Eric Menendez testified at trial that he had been physically and sex abused by his father, Jose Menendez, between the ages of 6 and 18. Eric Menendez testified he loved his parents, but committed the crime because they were going to unalive him after he had disclosed to his brother, Lyle Menendez, that his father had been doing this assaulting to him. Eric Menendez told Lyle Menendez about this stuff going on 5 days before the crime and told him it had been going on for the past 12 years. On August 17th, Lyle Menendez confronted Jose Menendez about this is rough. On August 17th, Lyle Menendez confronted Jose Menendez about the abuse of Eric and threatened to tell the police or relatives if Jose Menendez did not stop. Eric Menendez testified that he believed both he and Lyle would die as a result of Lyle Menendez's threat to expose Jose's abuse of Eric. The next day, Eric and Lyle purchased the firearms they used in the crime with cash at sporting goods stores in San Diego. At the time of the purchase, Eric Menendez presented a California's driver's license in someone else's name and gave a non-existent home address in San Diego. Eric Menendez later testified at trial that he and Lyle Menendez picked up the ejected shells at the crime scene because they believed their fingerprints might be on them. The defendants left the house and stopped at a car wash where they dumped the shells and the bloody clothes in the trash. Eric Menendez testified he also feared his mother, Kitty Menendez, because she participated in her husband's abusive behavior by condoning it. In his testimony, Eric Menendez made clear that in the days preceding the unalivings, he thought his parents were going to unalive him. There, he planned a fishing trip on August 19th that the defendants tried to avoid because Eric Menendez was afraid the fishing trip was a ploy to unalive the defendants out at sea. Ultimately, the defendants returned home and then their parents took them out on the fishing trip. During the entire time, an independent witness corroborated that the defendants stayed at the front of the 31-foot boat. Eric Menendez testified this was because they were afraid of their parents. Evidence was presented at trial of the defendants' efforts to convince two of their friends to testify falsely. One friend was asked by Lyle to testify that the day before the unaliving, the defendants came to him and said they needed a weapon for protection from their parents. The other friend was asked by Lyle Menendez to testify that Jose Menendez had done to her what had been done to a character in a movie the friend had seen with Lyle. Lyle Menendez told the friend she would receive a large sum of money if she testified accordingly. Both friends refused. At trial, the people also introduced 9 pages seized from Lyle Menendez's jail cell before the first trial. The 9 pages contain references to quote-unquote safe houses in foreign cities, as well as international travel and visas for different countries. Oh, see, I didn't know. I didn't know that part. Did you guys know? Hey, Mo. Good to see you, girl. Thanks for being here. I am Tuber says nothing screams bad but parents more than having your kids unaliving you. And that's deep. That's dark. I didn't know that part. So let me see. This next part it sounds like a lot of codes. So we're gonna skip that part. Oh yeah, clearly I did scratch it out on my end. All right. Some of it is just like a bunch of codes, and I don't want to bore you guys with that. Prison officials interpreted. Wait, where did we go from? My bad, you guys. Different countries. Okay, I guess we can kind of go through it. Penal Code authorizes a court to recall the sentence of a defendant committed to state prison and resentence the defendant to a lesser sentence upon the recommendation of, among other agents, the district attorney of the county in which the defendant was sentenced. Where the court determines the defendant's continued incarceration is no longer in the interest of justice. Section, etc., provides that in deciding whether to recall a prison sentence, the trial court may consider post-conviction factors such as the defendant's record of rehabilitation. That's interesting. We just hopped. Oh, that was the memorandum of points. And then it goes over, yeah, the penal code, and then it goes to prison. Prison officials interpret the original Penal Code Section 1170 as authorizing the recall of sentences based on circumstances that arose after the original commitment, an interpretation approved by the California Supreme Court. Through the plain language of the statute and legislative history, the legislator has established its intent that recall and resentencing is permitted to account for the defendant's rehabilitation, criminal justice reforms, and growing societal awareness of factors that contribute to criminal offenses. In 2018, the legislator amended the statute to expressly direct courts to consider post-conviction factors, including but not limited to the disciplinary record and record of rehabilitation of the defendant while incarcerated, and evidence that reflects whether age, time served, and diminished physical condition, if any, have reduced the defendant's risk for future violence, and evidence that reflects that the circumstances have changed since the original sentencing so that the inmate's continued incarceration is no longer the interest of justice. I'm going to skip that next page. It's just a bunch of codes again. Accordingly, the district attorney requests that this court recall Eric and Lyle Menendez sentences for resentencing so that these post-conviction factors can be given appropriate weight in crafting a just sentence. So they're saying that on top of, the evidence that came out in the letter, and that aside from their good behavior, etc., all the good stuff they have done while being incarcerated, that they deserve to be out. That's basically what that page that I skipped is going over, the penal codes where, they've worked in jail, they've become a better person, etc. The trial court may recall a sentence under the section 1172 for any reason rationally related to lawful sentencing after 120 days from the date of sentencing has passed. So this is a court's jurisdiction and judicial discretion to recall sentence. After 120 days from the day of sentencing has passed, the trial court regains the authority to recall a sentence and resentence the defendant if it receives a recommendation from an empowered actor, including the district attorney of the county in which the defendant was sentenced. This section also creates a rebuttal presumption favoring recall and resentencing of the defendant, which may only be overcome if a court finds the defendant is an unreasonable risk of danger to public safety. The section also defines that unreasonable risk of danger to public safety to mean that there is an unreasonable risk that the petitioner will commit a new violent felony, which is a super strike within the meaning of they list a bunch of penal codes. Among the crimes listed is any crime that carries a life sentence. Determining whether resentencing a defendant poses an unreasonable risk of danger to society is necessarily a forward-looking inquiry. Upon recall, the trial court has broad discretion to resentence the defendant as if they had not previously been sentenced. The sentencing court may, in the interest of justice, reduce a defendant's term of imprisonment by modifying the sentence or vacate the defendant's conviction and impose judgment on any necessarily included lesser offense or lesser related offense, whether or not that offense was charged in the original pleading, and then resentence the defendant to reduced imprisonment with the concurrence of both the defendant and the district attorney. The court can recall and resentence cases involving indeterminate sentences and determinate sentences. The entire sentence may be considered, and the court can use all of its judicial powers available at the time of resentencing hearing, including such familiar considerations such as which term of imprisonment should be imposed, whether enhancements charged should be stricken, and for multiple charge, whether a sentence should run consecutively or concurrently. Okay, I'm going to skip the next page. It's just a bunch of codes again. I just got this document. Sorry, guys, I didn't read it before. Further, the court is required to consider, oh wait, let me make sure. Can you see that on the screen? Do we know if the physical abuse, I think it was both physical and actual, which is terrible. I am too bear says the anger is buried. Let's see. Further, the court is required to consider if the defendant has experienced psychological, physical, or childhood trauma, including but not limited to abuse, neglect, exploitation, or sex violence. If the defendant was a victim of intimate partner violence or human trafficking prior to or at the time of commission of the offense, or if the defendant is a youth or was a youth as defined under Penal Code 1016 at the time of the commission of the offense, and whether those circumstances were a contributing factor in the commission of the offense. Am I on the right page? Yeah, I think I am. So yeah, they're asking the court, of course, to consider their trauma, which we saw in the press conference, right? The letter from the cousin, I believe. Lastly, the sentencing court must follow the direct of Section 1170 subdivision, which declares the purpose of sentencing as punishment, rehabilitation, and restorative justice. Under Section 1172, there's a presumption in favor of resentencing that may only be overcome if the court finds the defendant is an unreasonable risk of danger to public safety, which is defined as an unreasonable risk that the defendant will commit a new felony. So the defendant's post-conviction factors show that their sentence of life without parole are no longer in the interest of justice. The court should resentence Eric and Lyle to 50 years to life under Penal Code 1172. Section 1172 lays out factors that this court must consider in recall and resentencing procedures. Subsection sets forth a presumption favoring recall and resentencing, which may only be overcome if the court finds the defendant an unreasonable risk of danger to the public. Here, the four factors: Menendez current age, 54 and 56, their age at the time of the offense, and their rehabilitative efforts in prison all favor resentencing. The presumption, moreover, stands because Eric and Lyle Menendez pose no risk of danger to the public. Therefore, the people recommend that this court resentence to a sentence of 50 years to life. Yes, I did hear about Duty Run. It's terrible. Sending prayers. Jojo says, I've watched someone go through that type of, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jojo. The trauma was from being spoiled brats. Do you guys think they were spoiled brats? I don't know. I don't know what I think yet. Let's move on. Therefore, the people, okay, so the statutory factors support resentencing. Now 54 and 56 years old, the Menendez brothers pose a low risk of committing a new violent felony while serving a 50 to life sentence. Eric and Lyle Menendez's current age supports resentencing because it has reduced risk for future violence. Eric Menendez is 54 years old. Lyle Menendez is currently 56. Study shows that criminality declines drastically after age 40 and even more so after age 50. Indeed, the California Court of Appeal has highlighted the dramatic decrease in recidivism of people serving life sentences due to their age. Similar studies reflect the correlation between age and reoffending for individuals in federal custody. Given their age, the risk of committing a new violent felony while serving a sentence of 50 to life is extremely low. Their respective ages therefore weighs in favor of resentencing here. Age at the time of the offense. Hi, beautiful Stella. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You're fine. You're fine. We're just reading the sentencing for the Menendez brothers, the motion to resentence, the court document that came out on the 24th, so 2 days ago. And we're following the first trial here. I think you know that, right, Stella, because you've been here. So if it's something you're interested in, yeah, definitely stick around. And of course, we'd love to have you here, Stella. Age at the time of offense. The court is required to take into account the age at the time of the offense. Both Eric and Lyle Menendez were youth under 26 years old at the time of the charged offense. Indeed, Lyle Menendez was 21 years old and Eric Menendez was 18 at the time of the crimes charged. As a result of recent scientific developments and changes in the law since the time of sentence, the mitigating force of youth as a sentencing factor is now well and clearly established. The High Court recognizes that youth is more than a chronological fact. It is a time of immaturity and irresponsibility and recklessness. It is a moment and condition of life when a person may be susceptible to influence into psychological damage, and its signature qualities are all transient. The criminal justice system has evolved in the last decade with respect to its punishment of the youth offenders. This widespread recognition of youth as significantly mitigating contrasts with perception at the time of the Menendez trial. At that time, courts took the outdated view that a defendant's youth was a metonymic factor, which means capable of being either mitigating or aggravating. As a result of a growing scientific understanding in the decades since the sentence was imposed, courts now recognize that incomplete brain development renders youth less capable of conforming to that required by law, and that key features of the brain continue to undergo scientific changes throughout a person's 20s. In other words, there's certainly no indication that young offenders' capacity for growth and rehabilitation disappears simply because a young adult has passed the age of 18. Instead, the fertilities of youth that lessen culpability continue until at least the mid-20s. Like the courts, the California legislature has similarly recognized scientific developments from the recent decades which show the significantly mitigating role of youth and accompanying immaturity to culpability. The legislature has incorporated these principles through various penal code reforms, including Section 1016 subdivision, which is incorporated into a different section that factors away in the favor of resentencing. Penal Code 3051, providing youth offender parole hearings for any qualified incarcerated person convicted of controlling offense committed prior to age 26. Youth transience in combination with what is now known about adolescent and young adult brain development renders it undeniably mitigating as individuals mature. The impetuousness and recklessness that may dominate in the younger years can subside. Eric and Lyle Menendez's youth at the time of the crime is a highly mitigating factor, the import of which was not fully understood or considered at the time of his initial charging and sentencing, and it weighs in favor of resentencing them to 50 years to life. Do you guys agree in the chat? Yes, we are true crime junkies. I'm a document junkie too. I love them. So because of their age, 21 and 18, that should be a factor for them to be resentenced. Do you guys agree? Let's move on. Evidence of sex abuse and physical abuse. If taken as true, both the testimony of Eric and Lyle Menendez and the probation reports prepared on July 2nd, 1996 document several allegations of physical abuse and sex abuse by family members. Specifically, Lyle Menendez reported and testified that his father, Jose Menendez, molested him up until he reached the age of 8 years old. He claims it stopped, but Lyle also reports that he continued to see violence until 11 or 12. So there you go. I think someone asked, was it both types of abuse? Yeah, it was. Hello, Against the Logic. Nice to see you here. Okay, so Eric Menendez reported that when he was 6 years old, his father, the victim in this case, began to molest him, making Eric Menendez massage and orally copulate him. When Eric Menendez was 12 years old, Jose began, can you guys see that on the screen, that S word? Ooh, I don't want to say that. So just read it. It's the S word, SODOMIZING. At 12 years old. Yeah, trigger warning. Trigger warning. I just got this document, so I'm coming on here just learning this with you guys. At some point, Eric Menendez disclosed to his brother, then 13-year-old Lyle, that Jose Menendez was assaulting Eric Menendez. Lyle Menendez, in a separate probation interview, reported that at the age of 13, he confronted his father about the child abuse of co-defendant Eric. He felt good about the confrontation and thought the abuse had stopped. Marta Menendez Caño, the defendant's paternal aunt in North Palm Beach, Florida, reported to the Los Angeles Probation Department when they interviewed her for the Lyle Menendez sentencing report that, quote unquote, the defendants feared their father. When Eric was 12, he was beaten by his father for suspicion of telling Lyle about the abuse that was going on between him and his father. The secrecy that is typical in these abuse cases was evidenced by the anger Jose would show if anyone came to their house unexpectedly. Eric was not allowed to call or receive calls from his cousin Andy, which was her son. Marta Menendez Caño also reported to the Los Angeles Probation Department that one time Jose sat Eric and Andy down in a den to show them an educational video. The video turned out to be hardcore, you know the corn word, corn, like corn on the cob, corn, but not corn. Stella says, Jojo, I'm sort of on the fence about them being set free. Yeah, I think most of you have said in the chat that you're 50-50. What about all of the others that were outside and traumatized way back in the day? Exactly. That's a very fair question, Stella. And Jojo says, Stella saying like they were angry enough to do what they did to their own parents. You mean potatoes? Yeah, I will. Thanks, Donna. As related to the defendants, Mother Kitty Menendez, Miss Menendez Caño reported if Eric got sick at school, he would beg his teachers not to call his parents. If he stayed home sick, his mother would put him in the closet and make him stay there from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. He would be punished greater if he came out of the closet without permission. Andy was the only person who knew what was happening to Eric. Wow. Diane Vancer Mullen, the defendant's cousin, stated that the probation time of the sentencing report that her Aunt Kitty was her mentor in life. I adored her. However, Diane noticed a huge change in Kitty's behavior. When Eric was around 11 years old, she saw Diane saw him sobbing about something. When she went to comfort him, Kitty physically stopped her and said, "We don't hug Eric anymore." Eric Menendez went on to state that after they moved to California in 1986, the abuse stopped for a while. However, a week before he turned 16, father entered his room, ordered defendant to get on his knees and proceed. This continued to occur every 1 to 3 months until August 10th, 1989, 10 days before the present offense. Defendant was to start at UCLA in the fall semester and was going to be living in a campus dorm. However, a week before the present offense, father told the defendant that he would be coming home several nights a week so father could go over his homework. Wait, he was starting at UCLA? Why does his father need to go over his homework in college? I don't know. I didn't have my parents go over my stuff. I don't know. Some people are different, but is that common? I'm just curious. I'm not judging. Something that informs my opinion on a lot of this stuff is how disproportionately high our prison population is and how long the sentences are when we don't necessarily have less crime. Very good point, fam. Judges says private prisons max capacity pay millions and fines. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, duh. Yeah, it is. Yeah, YouTube is very strict. And since now I'm like on the partner side of it, I'm sure they're probably going to be, but again, this is a legal document. You guys can find it online through the court system. And then Estelle says femininity in our justice system is not fair or balanced. No, that's not common, Sam. The probation department's sentencing report for Eric Menendez also noted that Eric Menendez reported that the mother said she knew what was happening between defendant and father. The childhood abuse and trauma incurred by both defendants in this case is sufficient to invoke the court to reconsider under Section 1170. Eric Menendez path toward rehabilitation supports the imposition of a new sentence. Eric Menendez discipline record. The court may consider a defendant's prison disciplinary record as a factor, among others, in evaluating whether he should be resentenced. Here, Eric Menendez's overall disciplinary record while incarcerated is reflective of his positive trajectory throughout his period of incarceration. Eric Menendez has received 8 rule violation reports in over 30 years of incarceration. So 8 times in 30 years. Is that a lot to you guys? I don't think so. I don't know. Let's read what they're about, right? Here we go. September 23rd, 2021. Possession of a cell phone. Phone found in pillowcase in a cell Eric Menendez shared with 5 other men. On April 18th in 2018, Eric Menendez was laying on inmate's bed in inmate's cell, a cell that he does not share, while talking with a few other inmates. There was a cell search while the men were in the cell, whereupon a cell phone was found hidden in another inmate's mattress. In July 20th of 2011, fighting, mutual combat, hands and fist, Eric Menendez reported that the other inmate came over and assaulted him. On March 4th in 2006, excessive physical contact with female visitor. That's not funny, but I mean, February 17th, 2005, unauthorized possession of controlled medication. Eric Menendez pretended to take his Wellbutrin. The guard asked to see the cup Eric Menendez put to his mouth. The pill was still in the cup. January 21st, 2003, possession of tobacco, refusing to provide urine sample. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you, love. Thanks for being here. We're reviewing the resentencing motion for the Menendez brothers from 2 days ago. And these are the things of why they were, I guess, quote unquote, in trouble. On November 4th, 1997, battery requiring the use of force. Eric Menendez assaulted another inmate. The men did not stop fighting when ordered to. The guards had to use force to stop the fight. April 1st, 1997, disobeying an order. Eric Menendez refused to leave the chapel after the yard had been recalled. He refused to leave the chapel? Eric Menendez predictive scores. The people, having conducted a thorough review of the C file, have verified current classification scores. Eric Menendez current California Statistic Risk Assessment rating is a 1 on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the lowest. His current classification score is 19, with 19 being the lowest score possible for someone serving a life sentence. Eric Menendez has had raw security score of 0 since 2014. Eric Menendez computed classification score before being readjusted to 19. He is presently at a level 2 facility. Eric Menendez post-conviction factors. An inmate's suitability for release may be premised upon a showing of overwhelming evidence of rehabilitation. Here, Eric Menendez has programmed extensively during his more than 30-year period of incarceration. Education. Eric Menendez has been highly productive in the learning environment. Examples of Eric Menendez's success include his acceptance to UC Irvine in May 2023 for the fall 2023 term. Prior to that, he earned his associate's degree in sociology with honors from Southwestern College. He was accepted into the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society in August 2022. In May 2022, Eric Menendez earned his certificate in proficiency in American Sign Language from Southwestern College. It is reported that Eric Menendez did this to better communicate with participants in the programs he created. In 2018, Eric Menendez earned his AA degree in Social and Behavioral Science from Coastline Community College and obtained his healthcare aid diploma with the highest honors from Stratford Career Institute in September of 2016. Eric Menendez attended Coastline Community College in spring 2008 and spring 2009. So hold on. But they've been in prison and they're doing all of this while they're in prison? Wait. He went through to like 5 colleges. This is wild. They just do it all online? Self-help and recovery programming. Eric Menendez has proven himself to be an incredible asset to his prison community. He has created 4 new programs at the R.J. Donovan Prison to assist and better his fellow inmates' quality of life. Specific programs that Eric Menendez created are listed here. Donna says at least he's being good and bettering himself. He could probably be an asset to society. Absolutely. I'm sure you have to like go through the court process to be able to do all of that, like while in prison for life, but that's impressive. Life, care, and hospice connections, specific programs. Oh, these are programs that Eric Menendez created. What? Life, care, and hospice connections. Eric Menendez, along with a fellow inmate, co-founded and facilitated the Life, Care, and Hospice Connections program. The Life Care and Hospice is an American with Disabilities Act awareness and support group that provides support for the disabled and elderly inmates. It also serves to educate non-ADA inmates on the physical and emotional struggles of the less abled peers. Chronos documenting the success of the program along with documenting Eric Menendez's role as a leader and facilitator are as follows. September 13th, 2024. Laudatory chrono from Crystal Lopez, Community Resource Manager, to acknowledge Eric Menendez's standout performance and excellence as chairman of the executive and head facilitator of Life Care and Hospice, a self-rehabilitative program in Facility E Yard that Mr. Menendez himself founded in 2016 in Facility B Yard, and for which he authored the whole curriculum. This recognition covers the period of January 2023 to December 2023. This 2023 tenure showed Mr. Menendez going above and beyond the duties of his top leadership position. In addition to consistently performing those tasks, he also utilized his time outside of this class to thoroughly overhaul the program curriculum, group activities, and discussion topics. Mr. Menendez spent this whole year reformulating the original smaller class curriculum, which was originally written by him during his program founding in 2016. He eventually created a 126-page comprehensive manual that serves as a new class source book, and his fellow leaders and group members could not be happier and more excited about it. We would like to acknowledge Eric Menendez. Okay, that was like a repeated, oh, they just copy and pasted the first part. So acknowledge Eric Menendez standout performance. This recognition also covers that very challenging period of the reopening phase right after the C-19 pandemic from August of 2021 to December of 2022. The Life Care and Hospice program provided a comfortable and compassionate setting in which ADA and elderly inmates may freely discuss their feelings, frustrations, hardships, goals, concerns, and struggles, with the major objective of developing greater compassion and acceptance between the ADA, the elderly, and the non-ADA inmates of the prison population. I'm impressed. August 23rd, 2022. Chrono to acknowledge that Eric Menendez facilitated 6-session, 9-hour workshops, 12-step recovering, and with meditation. This was a second cycle workshop. He was also given permission to hold a voluntary book donation drive on April 19th through the 21st, 2022, to replenish the depleted library and the administrative segregation. The book drive was sponsored by hwop.org. Williams wrote, I was first able to observe Mr. Menendez, a GP inmate, when he arrived on RJD facility in April of 2018. He quickly became an inmate leader on this facility, leading peer-to-peer group meditation skills. I have since learned that Mr. Menendez began to contribute to the inmate community when he was on RGD Facility B. He discussed how through his work as an adult caregive/ADA worker, he became aware of the stereotypes and that young and old inmates held about each other. He and other inmates formed a peer-to-peer group on the facility so that the old and young inmates could come together and learn about each other and change the views they held. Over the time Mr. Menendez has been on Facility E, he found additional ways to contribute to the inmate community. As part of his pursuit of college education, Mr. Menendez took coursework in American Sign Language so that he could better communicate with the deaf inmates he lived with. Wow. October 23rd, 2019. They would like to recognize Eric Menendez for his outstanding contribution to Facility E. Facility as a creator and facilitator of the ADA Awareness Group and Life and Care Hospice, which was an education program that was sponsored by HWOP organization. Kronos, so it just keeps talking about his recognition to this program that he created. Correctional v. Inmate Assistant Program Supervisor Freeman wrote, in July of 2015, when I became the supervisor of Third Watch Facility B Inmate Assistant Program, inmate Menendez had already been a caregiver for 2 years. His work ethic, leadership qualities among his peers, and commitment to helping the elderly and handicapped inmates was widely known among staff and immediately apparent. He worked longer hours than his job required, and he would not leave his shift until all of his handicapped inmates had been taken care of. Soon after I assumed the responsibility for IAP caregivers, Menendez pressed me to apply for more caregivers. He wanted greater individual care for every elderly and handicapped inmate in his charge, and asked for permission to train more caregivers to help them. Menendez effectively utilized his role as leader of the caregiver crew to oversee, train, and help direct new caregivers. He did so in part by leading by his example, his work ethic, and his high standard of care. Wow. Hi, life artist. Hey, Paul. Thanks for being here. Good to see you here, love. Okay, let's move on. We're almost through this document. We're going to probably have to skip some of it just because it's like penal code stuff. Eric Menendez created the Victim Impact and Victim Empathy for Vulnerable Populations in 2022. In explaining the program, Eric Menendez wrote, in order to accommodate more students for life care and hospice, I was granted special permission by the RGJD's Prison Mental Health Department to hold 8-week victim and victim empathy workshops. VIVE is the Victim Impact part of Life and Care Hospice curriculum. So they're giving him recognition for Eric Menendez for his active participation in VIVE, I think that's the name of it, Understanding Childhood Toxic Shame. This individual also assisted on the coordination and facilitation of several parts of the presentation. The workshop is a 6-week class structured processing workshop that focuses on understanding what toxic shame is and identifying its root causes in the individual. Wow, that's like very impressive. He's been doing a lot while he's been locked up in there, huh? Jeez. He also created a 12-step meditation class. In 2022, Eric Menendez co-founded the 12-step recovery and meditation class. The facilitation of an 8-session, 12-hour workshop, 12-step recovery with meditation. Eric Menendez is responsible for co-authoring the curriculum and presenting the workshop. And then they just give him credit for like all of these dates. He did a bunch of these workshops, so they're giving him credit for that. And then Insight, he also created Insight meditation workshops. I'm just skipping through like it just basically lists the same thing. It says they want to acknowledge him for basic level mindfulness workshop. The individual's commended for his facilitation of his mental health sponsored programs. And he also created Starlight Peace Project. On October 30th, 2018, Eric Menendez co-founded the Starlight Peace Project. The stated mission of the Starlight Peace Project is to create or capture images of peace in places associated with violence and human struggle. On August 28th, 2018, Garza documented that Eric Menendez and his Starlight co-founder served as co-directors for the No Violence Challenge. They were responsible for serving 30 event coordinators and over 150 event participants, including organizing the event, working with administrative staff to gain necessary permissions to hold the event, and coordinating with San Diego University staff to complete the No Violence Challenge. It is important to note that on one point with all the programs and classes Eric Menendez founded, Eric Menendez was and may still be teaching 5 different classes in a course of a week. Life Artist says he worked on beautification project. They painted a big mural. We're putting money together for flowers and grass in the yard. I mean, I'm so impressed. Yeah. Hi, Lily. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, this is like very impressive. I'm impressed. Alternatives. Oh, and he also created another program, Alternatives to Violence Training. Eric Menendez has he completed the Alternatives to Violence training courses. He has successfully trained to be a facilitator of their program. Again, he holds a ton of workshops, all kinds of stuff. Eric Menendez record of participation in his community. In addition to being the creator and facilitator of the many programs that Eric Menendez founded at prison, he is also an active member of his community. Some examples of Eric Menendez community engagement include attending the presentation by Andy Benser, a computer science expert. Eric Menendez has positive long-term efforts and participations and contributions to the troubled youth throughout San Diego as a member of the focus group, taking part in monthly letter writing campaign targeting youthful offenders housed in local county jails. Eric Menendez wrote letters on the first Sunday of every month. Eric Menendez wrote letters on the first Sunday of every month to write letters and explain his story of incarceration, his regrets, and what he has learned about himself. He also participated in a walkathon event for the American Red Cross. Like they just let him out of prison to participate in a walkathon? I mean, at this point, with everything he's done, that was in 2023, so that was only like a year or two ago. He also is an active participant in facilitating the Echo Yard Carnival on August 2nd, 2023. The carnival was a pro-social event that built inclusivity, community and culture competency amongst inmate population on Facility E. He also participated in the Be Brave lecture presented by author and documentary filmmaker Leon Logethes. Sorry if I pronounced that name wrong. And then the chaplain Campbell for Eric Menendez participation in the wellness group featuring Anata of UC Irvine. Wow, all these people. He attended an inmate peer and health education program called Better Not Bitter. He completed a 12-week group shop called Domestic Violence Education and Awareness. Oh, this might be what Life Artist was mentioning. Participant in Brother Lyle Menendez mural project, which will create murals on 1,000 feet long and 30 feet wide walls. Eric's involvement will be 20 hours a week as a lead muralist. That's what you were talking about, Life Artist? Oh, did laps in the yard for the walkathon? I don't know. See, I have no idea how they did that. Maybe laps. I should look into that. Certification of completement for Eric Menendez completing hours in victim awareness program. And he completed the self-directed course with coping with anger, completed post-traumatic stress courses, completed all kinds of mental health and recreation therapy. He also organized the inmate population on FACE and preparing the facilities for the deaf culture town halls, which are designed to educate and train both staffs and inmates on how to effectively communicate with deaf individuals by incorporating sign language and deaf culture into a prison community. And then his contribution to the American Disability Act Awareness and Support Group, the Life Care and Hospice. He's commended for that. He participated in a October 18, 2019 cancer walk for the Suzanne G. Komen Foundation, completion of the Hero Maker workshop, certificate of completion of leading healthy teams. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Certificate of award for Spring Faculty League soccer referee. Judge Steve White of Sacramento Superior Court checking with Eric Menendez on Eric Menendez's well-being. Judge White wrote about Eric Menendez's presentation proposal for the ladder system. Although the program was not ultimately approved, Judge White remarked how thoughtful and coherent the presentation was. Eric Menendez also participated in the annual Brady Cancer Walk to raise awareness and money for breast cancer research. And he has strong work ethic as an inmate ward laborer. The supervisor wrote that inmate Menendez is consistently respectful and honest with supervisors, takes direction well, and performs his job duties with professional attitude. Inmate Menendez has proved to be a disciplined worker. He coordinates well with others, and he displays leadership qualities on the job site with his coworkers. He remains mindful of safety protocols and has earned the trust of each of his supervisors to work skillfully around heavy machinery. He transitions into each new job task easily. His exemplary behavior and job performance should be recognized. They're giving him a lot of recognitions here. He participated in K-Rose candidate during K-Rose weekend, March 23rd through March 26, 2017. The K-Rose weekend program is a short course, a total immersion of 4 days, introducing candidates to living in a Christian community. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. He got a certificate for completion in the American Community Corrections Institute life skills and continuous relationships. Struggling youth. Eric Menendez facilitated the infectious disease group where the fundamentals of risky behavior lead to HIV. Oh, and the Reverend from the Buddhist Priest Zen Group Service wrote that inmate Menendez should be commended for his self-service to the inmate Zen community at R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility. This inmate goes out of his way to help the disabled and elderly inmates who attend the group. He assists to them and from their housing units assists them with their meditation posture and practice and helps them with various other needs during the group period. He exhibits patience and compassion when working with these handicapped inmates and is relied upon by our staff to do so. Menendez relates his Zen practice of service to others. One of the Zen precepts as the effort to make amends for wrongs committed in his life. Menendez continues to be an exemplary participant in the practice of Zen meditation. It says that the corrections officers in regard to the impressive display of rehabilitative behavior by Eric Menendez over the past year, it has been noticed that Eric Menendez has gone above and beyond his duties as an inmate assistant worker. Menendez constantly conducts welfare checks on all 88 inmates within not only his personal housing unit, but the entire B facility. I have personally witnessed many 88 inmates verbally thanking Menendez for his assistance and in making sure they receive proper treatment and that they make their medication and chow lines without delay. Menendez is a constant motivator to his fellow housing inmates as well. For example, I was informed by inmate Falco that Menendez was his motivation in pursuing the ability to walk again. Falco had not tried to walk for several years and simply confined himself to a wheelchair. But after the encouraging counsel of Menendez, inmate Falco found the strength and inspiration to better his life and begin to be mobile once more. Menendez has also been putting together special workshops to teach ADA inmates better healthcare habits and how to better cope with their new way of life. For years, the public has heard of what the media portrays as the notorious name of Eric Menendez, but as far as I can perceive from my professional training as a correctional peace officer, Eric Menendez is a rehabilitated man who humbly strives towards helping those in need. This concludes my memo. There's a lot of recognition here. A lot. I'm going to skip some of these. But I mean, he completed the Forgive to Live seminar as well. It's a lot of stuff. I think we get the point, right? Do you believe he is rehabilitated? Okay, I'm going to get to sobriety maintenance. We just have a couple more pages left to go. Free education, free food, time to do anything, then still getting recognition for what he does while working hard, paying for a thing, and never getting recognition for shit. Oh my gosh, Augie, you are not wrong there. You are not. Despite having a documented history of alcohol or substance abuse, Eric Menendez has aggressive engaged in sobriety maintenance programming. In addition, his founding of the 12-step meditation program, Eric Menendez actively participated in AA and NA programming. Okay, so then it lists all the times that he went to AA and NA. That's a lot. That's a lot. Work history. Eric Menendez has excelled in the work environment, proving to be a great asset to the institution. Some examples of Eric Menendez work include job assignment, work. So they list a chart of just job assignments. I'm just going to read through the first part. Work supervisor's report. Eric Menendez was rated satisfactory. These are just, it's just a report on like his behavior and stuff. Oh, look at all of that. Wow. Unless you guys want me to read all of that, I'm like, this is a lot. It's one of them says, inmate Menendez continues to be a leader among his fellow inmate assistants, caregivers. Inmate Menendez continues to care for the elderly and handicapped inmates in his charge at a level and quality that exceeds expectation. Okay, let's get to Lyle Menendez. Post-conviction factors show his current sentence of life without parole is no longer in the interest of justice. So we just have a few more pages to go. This one's about Lyle, basically letting us know the same thing. Lyle Menendez's overall disciplinary record while incarcerated is reflective of his positive trajectory throughout his period of incarceration. Lyle Menendez has had 5 rule violation reports in over 30 years. So Eric had 8 and Lyle has had 5. That's not bad. I mean, it's not good, but it's not bad, right? For 30 years. March 15th, 2024, cell phone possession. 2000, misuse of state phones. Lyle Menendez was using the phone when he shouldn't have. Possession of contraband. Lyle Menendez was in possession of a lighter in 2013. 1988, receiving contraband. A female visitor brought him in new Adidas shoes. He wanted his Adidas in 1988. And then September of 1996, refusing an order. He refused to leave administrative segregation when ordered to join the orientation dorm. It is important to note that Lyle Menendez has not been in a single fight in 30 years he has been incarcerated. In 1997, he had to be moved from general population to the special need yards because he wouldn't fight back when attacked. Wow. He wouldn't fight back. They had to move him. Oh, yeah. I think. Oh, really? I missed that. Was there a typo? Oh, yeah, you're right. 1998, the contraband. Thank you for that. Hey, do I see Bun Bun? Hi, Bun Bun. Thanks for being here. His predictive scores, California Statistic Risk Assessment rating is 1, the lowest. His classification score is 19. An inmate suitability for release may be premised upon showing of overwhelming evidence of rehabilitation. Lyle Menendez has programmed extensively during his more than 30-year period of incarceration. It's going to talk about his education. Lyle Menendez has excelled in the academic environment. He recently graduated from the University of California with Bachelor's of Arts degree. It is reported that Lyle was on the Dean's List every semester and was nominated of the National Merit Society in 2023. Lyle also received a United States Senate Certificate of Commendation from Senator LaFonza to congratulate Lyle Menendez's graduation from UC Irvine through the Lifted program. Prior to attending UC Irvine, Lyle Menendez earned his associate's degree in sociology from Southwestern College and was accepted in the Honor Society. Lyle Menendez was recognized by California Assemblymember Alvarez for his accomplishment. Prior to earning his AA degree, Lyle also matriculated at Indiana University. Paul says, I like that in America you give proper sentences. You only get 20 years for unaliving in the UK. Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know that. Your everyday sheet. Not a single fight of 30 years of incarceration is wild. Very much so. They had to put him in special needs because they were attacking him and he wouldn't fight back. Not even in like self-defense. It's wild. Self-help and recovery program. Lyle Menendez was proven himself to be an incredible asset to his prison community. He has held significant leadership roles for more than a decade as documented in March 16, 2017. The Associate Warden Program said the Associate Warden Program of Housing. In March 16, 2017, the warden noted that Lyle Menendez was elected for representative for prisoners in Northern California back in 2003. For over 10 years serving in that capacity, he has worked productively with the administration to foster a positive programming culture at MCSP. Associate Warden noted that in 2003, Lyle Menendez was able to convince prison population on max security yard to live alongside the mental health program prisoners, resulting in the CDCRC not needing to build a separate yard. In 2007, Lyle Menendez worked with inmate population to build consensus to allow integrated housing to be implemented by CDCRC without inmate pushback. Lyle Menendez went cell to cell speaking to inmates individually to garner cooperation. Because of Lyle Menendez's ability to garner inmate buy-in to integrated housing, the CDCR was able to close a disciplined dorm. Furthermore, Lyle Menendez drafted the bed move section in Title 15 Regulations Code, which is still in effect today. In addition to being a leader amongst his peers, Lyle has created 4 new programs with the prison system to assist and better his fellow inmates' quality of life. Specific programs that Lyle Menendez has created. Green Space. The Green Space project was developed by Lyle in 2018. It is a 2-phase project to beautify the prison. The project will paint enormous landscape murals along the that's what Life Artist was talking about. The project will paint enormous landscape murals along the entire interior of the facility, exercise yard, wall, and redesign the prison landscape. To undertake this project, Lyle Menendez founded the Rehabilitation Through Beautification Group. The project began 5 years ago. Lyle Menendez has partnered with various local businesses, landscape developers, all levels of prison administration. He raised over $250,000. In addition, Lyle Menendez has partnered with Guide Dogs of America to raise $100,000 for artificial grass materials. Lyle Menendez has been entrusted by the CDCR administration to be in charge of the inventory control for the project. Hi, Johnny. Thanks for being here. Lyle Menendez, in furtherance of the Green Space Initiative, founded the Rehabilitation Beautification Volunteer Work Group for inmates to participate in the Green Space mural painting and landscaping improvements. He also created the Adverse Childhood Experience and Rehabilitation, ACER. And ACER seeks to provide non-clinical framework for offenders to explore their own childhood history and its causal relationships to personality traits that can lead to criminality. That was in 2016. And he created Youth Life Without Parole Alley. And this was for youth offenders with life without parole sentences for the purpose of mentoring non-life without parole prisoners who were working on their rehabilitation goals in 2013. And he also created the Wire Bulletin. And the Wire Bulletin is an inmate advisory bulletin for the purposes of communicating inmate advisory council matters to the population. The Wire Bulletin was supported by the RGD Mental Health to help keep low functioning prisoners in the mental health program better informed. It was noted that using a bulletin method is important when a facility has an EOP unit, as those inmates often will not or cannot digest full-page memorandums or minutes on a wall, but will read a bulletin with brief updates. Often, one roommate will read the bulletin out loud to their lower functioning roommates. For this reason, the Wire Bulletin is supported by mental health. And he did create grand scale programs and has done additional programming as well. He attended workshops, education pathways, peer programs. And he participated in the Mule Creek State Prison's 10th Annual National Crime Victims Week activities by attending the Thursday, April 6, 2017 speaker panel where R. Nelson, the father of Monique Nelson, who died protecting the life of her 2-year-old son in the midst of a gang shootout. Wow. Circumstances have changed since the original sentences were imposed. A sentence of life without parole is no longer in the interest of justice. Okay, so this goes basically into the fact that Eric and Lyle Menendez positive transformation, as well as their ability to finding meaning and purpose from their current confinement, illustrate just how much circumstances have changed since the time they were sentenced to life without parole. And then I'm going to read, this is an exhibit. It's like a little something that I think the Menendez brothers wrote. Eric Menendez wrote, "My journey of healing, making amends and understanding my life crime, along with the process of rebuilding my life, has been long and challenging. I had to let go of the only value system I had ever known, beliefs and principles instilled in me by my parents from infancy, and explore anew the meaning of values, love, and compassion within a community. I had to reshape my understanding of success and reevaluate what it means to live a life of true purpose. Today, I find my value in the exchanges of kindness I have with others, in living as caring and a loving husband, father, and in trying to be a compassionate friend and helping contributing member of my community. To this end, the principles of my life has become rooted in empathy and, where possible, in service." That was an insight statement understanding the nature and magnitude of my offense that Eric Menendez wrote. And it says, "The unprecedented publicity surrounding the case and my own admissions as a survivor of sex abuse brought an outpouring of communication with other victims of this abuse and incest across the country and the world. I decided early on in my incarceration to connect with abuse survivors. My own life will never be free of suffering, but I find a way to use shared experiences to help others and myself heal and understand this complex trauma. I asked my family to create a public figure Facebook page in my name as a safe space for survivors of abuse. I have spent countless hours with my family helping contribute to its content through mail and over the phone by audiogram. The site is visited by tens and thousands of abuse survivors each week. In addition, I have personally written thousands of letters to abuse victims in response to their letters to me. The sharing has been a profound experience and helped my own healing process. Another surprising result of being so public about my own abuse is the enormous number of prisoners who have confided their own shameful experiences with this trauma. They found me in a safe place to share. As a result, I have spent 2 decades facilitating groups formally and informally for prisoners who experienced abuse as children. I founded a group called ACER that allows groups of prisoners to understand their past childhood trauma. Networking with mental health experts outside the prison, we were able to allow professional feedback and provide guidance. Eric and Lyle Menendez committed their crimes when they were 18 and 21 years old. They were admitted to the CDCR at ages 25 through 28, respectively, having experienced a significant of trauma and abuse as children. Today, they are 54 and 56-year-old men who have both demonstrated a deep sense of self-awareness and connectedness to a positive, pro-social community, both inside prison and outside the community they intend to return to. Eric and Lyle Menendez have done a tremendous amount of self-work while in custody and are now able to use their lived experience to support and help their communities. With respect to Eric Menendez, correctional officer writes, when asked about his commitment and commendable work ethic as a caregiver for the elderly and ADA, inmate Menendez stated, my maturity has taken time through a lot of failures and insight. I have a great deal to make up for. The truth is, in assisting and serving the handicapped, they have healed me more than anything I could ever do for them. Menendez's efforts and passion as a caregiver has had a contagious and positive effect on the quality of care given by numerous members of his crew. He has helped change the face of caregiving for the elderly and handicapped on this watch. As such, his conduct should be commended and documented for future supervisors. And then program leaders have recognized Eric and Lyle Menendez's transformation. In a letter of support for reconsideration of Joseph Lyle Menendez, a different correctional lieutenant writes, I did not know Lyle Menendez prior to his arrival at RDJCF, and therefore I can only provide my evaluation of him while he has been assigned to Facility E. However, I believe the time I have supervised him gives me a very reliable assessment. Furthermore, a review of a central file memorandum written by the Mule Creek State Prison Associate Warden of Program and Housing, which describes the conduct of Mr. Menendez over the 10 years prior to his arrival at RJDCF, indicates a similar assessment of his exhibiting exceptional conduct, a high degree of character and trustworthiness, detailing the numerous ways he contributed to safety and stability of the prison for inmates and staff alike. These two assessments show a consistency of character and exceptional conduct spanning the last 15 years. I, along with many of my colleagues who I know share these sentiments, strongly urge the court, the district attorney, the governor of California, and any other relevant government bodies to consider the resentencing of Lyle Menendez. I believe that providing him with a second chance at freedom is consistent with our belief in the legal system to recognize when an individual has truly changed their life for the better of their families, communities, and himself. Should there be any further discussion or information regarding this matter, please know that I am fully prepared and willing to assist in any way possible. If helpful, I can also be available to appear in any person at relevant proceedings. That's wow. Both Eric and Lyle Menendez have been recognized for their work ethic, professionalism, and been significant contributors to the betterment of the community they live in. Over the past 30 years, Eric and Lyle Menendez have participated in victim impact programs, workshops, and events. They have created multiple programs in service to those in need around them. Both the prison environment and the prison administration of the facilities they have resided at have greatly benefited from their contributions. The CDCR was actually able to close an entire discipline room based on Lyle Menendez's ability to build consensus among inmates and the administration. Eric and Lyle Menendez understand the harm they caused extended far beyond the direct victims of the offense. Their crimes have impacted their family, friends, and the community more broadly. It is important to note that other than the two fistfights Eric Menendez was in 1997 and 2011, 13 years ago, neither Eric nor Lyle have engaged in a single act of violence before the crimes in this case, nor have they engaged in any form of aggression after their crimes were committed during their 30-year period of incarceration. They have never been found in possession of a weapon and have never affiliated with prison gangs. The unalivings of Jose and Kitty Menendez in August 1989, although clearly planned, came upon the heels of years of alleged abuse and emotional abuse. Removed from the horror of what was described to have occurred in the family home, both Eric and Lyle Menendez have shown themselves to be empathetic individuals who care for and participate in the community for the betterment of the collective. A review of each defendant's prison's file shows there's no evidence that either Lyle and Menendez would be likely to commit a super strike upon release. As relevant here, so it goes into Mary's Law. I'm just going to read what Mary's Law is because I'm not sure what that is. As relevant here, pursuant to, Marcy's Law. Victims of crime have a right to a reasonable notice of all public proceedings, including delinquency proceedings upon request, at which the defendant and the prosecutor are entitled to be present, and all of the parole or other post-conviction release proceedings, and to be present at all such proceedings. It is widely known that the members of the Menendez family are in full support of the resentencing of Eric and Lyle Menendez. Members who have voiced their support include Kitty Menendez, sisters Joan Anderson Vandermolen, who at the age of 93 flew into the state of California to participate in a press conference called by the family to voice their desire to have Eric and Lyle Menendez resentenced. She also attended a meeting with the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office in compliance with Marcy's Law, accompanied by almost 30 extended family members, wherein they all expressed their strong support of Eric and Lyle Menendez being resentenced. The family members in support of the resentencing of both Eric and Lyle Menendez collectively confirmed that the men were abused by Jose Menendez when they were children. There is a single family member, Milton Anderson, who is opposed to a resentencing of any kind. He declined to meet with the deputy district attorney assigned to assess this case to discuss his Marcy's Law right or give him indirect input. Mr. Milton, however, has made his opposition clear through his attorney's public appearances and statements issued to the press, expressing his total opposition to resentencing, disbelieving that any abuse had occurred in the Menendez home prior to the killings. It is expected that Mr. Milton Anderson will make a personal statement when this motion is litigated. So there's one person against it. I see you guys in the chat for becoming members, Tipsy, Bun Bun, Stella. I appreciate you guys, and Tipsy gifting someone. Y'all are the best. For real, the best. I appreciate you guys. Okay, we're almost done. There's like 2 more pages, you guys. We got through this Menendez document. Thanks for hanging out. The court should use its broad discretion under Penal Code sections 1172, resentence the defendants. To date, Eric and Lyle Menendez have each served 30 years of their current sentence. When Eric and Lyle Menendez were sentenced to life without the possibility of parole in 1996, their sentences were aligned with what was considered the best public safety practices. What is considered best practices for public safety, however, has evolved. We now understand that the public safety is not best achieved through overly harsh punishments that ignore rehabilitation. Instead, public safety is best achieved through a combination of punishment, rehabilitation, restorative justice, and proportionality and meaningful community engagement, including reentry support and services to the victims of crime. While incarcerated, Eric and Lyle Menendez have transformed and taken advantage of meaningful opportunities to move beyond criminal thinking, repent, and become productive community members. Both men have been incredible contributions to the prison system as a whole and to their fellow inmates on a personal level. Eric and Lyle Menendez have done and continue to do their good works and contributions, done without any expectation or hope of ever being released. While incarcerated, Eric and Lyle Menendez have shown themselves to be contributing and functioning individuals. As demonstrated through their prison records, both Eric and Lyle Menendez present as individuals who are not likely to commit any new offenses, much less a super strike, and are ready to re-enter society. The underlying goals of accountability, retribution, and rehabilitation for both Eric and Lyle Menendez have been achieved. They have used their time of incarceration well and now show that they are not a risk to public safety. Eric and Lyle Menendez both deserve a lesser sentence. For all the reasons articulated above, the people believe it is in the interest of justice to resentence Eric and Lyle Menendez to a sentence that aligns with the present levels of rehabilitation. Therefore, the people ask the court to recall Eric and Lyle Menendez's sentence and resentence each of them to a new term of 50 years to life as described below. Effective January 1st, 2014, Penal Code Section 3051 created a youth offender parole hearing process that will apply to both Eric and Lyle Menendez if they are resentenced to a sentence other than life without the possibility of parole. A youth offender parole hearing is a hearing by the Board of Parole Hearings for the purpose of reviewing the parole suitability of any prisoner who was 25 years of age or younger at the time of the controlling offense. Pursuant to the statute, a person who was convicted of a controlling offense that was committed when the person was 25 years of age or younger and for which the sentence is a life term of 25 years to life shall be eligible for release on parole at a youth offender parole hearing during the person's 25th year of incarceration. The youth parole eligible date for a person eligible for a youth offender parole hearing under this paragraph shall be the first day of the person's 25th year of incarceration. At the parole hearing, it is statutorily mandated that in assessing growth and maturity, psychological evaluations and risk assessments instruments, if used by the board, shall be administered by licensed psychologists employed by the board and shall take in consideration and diminish culpability of youth as compared to that of adults, the hallmarks, features of youth, and any subsequent growth and increased maturity of the individual. Family members, friends, school personnel, faith leaders, and representatives from community-based organizations with knowledge about the individual before the crime or the individual's growth and maturity since the time of the crime may submit statements for review by the board. The youthful offender parole hearing process is not available to inmates serving life sentences without the possibility of parole, which is why neither of the defendants has been able to previously seek this opportunity. Conclusion. Where the people respectfully request that the court resentence Lyle and Eric Menendez in pursuant to Penal Code 1172 as follows. Resentence Eric Menendez. Count 1, first degree unaliving, 25 to life in state prison. Count 2, first degree unaliving, 25 to life in state prison consecutive. Total sentence, 50 years to life in prison. And then the resentence for Lyle is the same thing, 25 to life for the first and then the second, so 50 years there as well. And we did it. Yay! We did it. Thank you guys again. I want to say thank you again to Gypsy and all of you who became members today. I'm working on getting all the stickers and all of that. Your girl is learning, but I appreciate you guys so much for becoming members. I love, 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 love you guys. And thank you for being here. We just finished this 57-page document. I know it was long. I hadn't read it before, so I didn't have time to edit it. But I think it's, thank you, Bun Bun, for the super sticker. You're amazing. I appreciate you guys so much. Yes, I hope that, yes, Gracie, I didn't see you pop in here. Good to see you, love. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. Why doesn't YouTube let me? I don't know, Lily. I'm not sure what's going on. Your girl is learning. I'm trying. But yes, so if you haven't caught up, I have the press conference, the first one up, and then we started the first Menendez trial last week. So we will be doing probably an episode either later tonight or tomorrow. I have another live plan for tonight. So either or, we're going to continue on the Menendez. We're on part 3. So we will be doing the first trial, Eric Menendez opening statements. So we're kind of going back in time to the 1993 trial, which is pretty long, but I'm committed to getting through it here. It's a case I've really been interested in, and I think it's, obviously everywhere on the news now. It's a big deal. Allegedly, they might be out before Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's accurate. That's why I say allegedly, but that's what I saw today on I can't remember an article on Google. We'll see. Thank you, Donna, for being here. You're doing a great. I hope so. I hope so. So anyways, we did just go through all of that. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you guys so much. Gracie, I'm glad you made it, and make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. Yes. Yes, you can join. Yeah, we are officially YouTube partners. Yeah, we have been for like a couple days now. I know, I'm very happy. So I couldn't do it without you guys for supporting your girl. It's rough here on the YouTube streets. Melly, go look at the painting murals. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna Google that. I'm gonna put it. Okay, so I have some court documents like from way back in the day that I want to review too. So I might do like a PowerPoint and include some of these pictures so that everybody can see. Lily, I'm not sure what's going on. We'll try to help you. We'll try to help you figure it out. Thanks, Sam, for being here. Okay, so I will see you guys later for another True Crime Live. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night and evening. And again, thank you for being here. Gracie says, I've been mentally exhausted. Aw, Gracie, we miss you and love you. I hope, let's talk soon. Stella, I love you, Stella. You're so nice. Yeah, Lily, you just got gifted by Stella. You were trying to join and Stella just gifted you. Stella, you're amazing. I appreciate you. Lily, you're green now. Now she doesn't have to stress about it. That's awesome. It was meant to be. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for being here. I will see you guys in a little bit. Make sure you hit that like button, and I love you all very much, and I will see you on the next one.